Welcome to another Chelsea chat. So last night in the Caraboa Cup it was Manchester City 2, Chelsea 0. Just had a brief look at the social media and it's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. If in fact you're lucky enough to have a mind, because I'm not convinced that everyone in 2022 has got that luxury. I'm really not. Now I'm going to put my cards on the table straight away. I thought that was a decent performance. It wasn't mind-blowing, it wasn't the best ever, but I thought the movement that we showed was pretty good. Probably the best we've shown since maybe Tottenham or the occasional European game against substandard opposition. So last night City put out a weaker side. We allegedly put out a weaker side that played a lot better than the first 11 that I was embarrassed for against Arsenal. I know some people have taken issue with me for saying that, but I was. I thought there was a lack of effort, I thought there was a lack of understanding, a lack of movement, a lack of everything. Last night I couldn't say that. I think most players there, even those playing out of position, even people like Ziyech, who hasn't got a defensive bone in his body and was leaving Loftus-Cheek and Chalobah exposed at times, purely because he hasn't got that mindset. I thought he tried. I thought he tried. You know, my downer on growling, scowling Ziyech. Couple of bits of skill from him last night that were out of this world. It just goes to show, if you give him a few inches and that left foot can be absolutely magic. It can be terrible too, as we saw when he skied that shot and a couple of passes that, you know, ended up in the disabled section near the corner flag. But he tried. So no major criticisms from me. We competed. We were brave in trying to play out of their press, which no matter what personnel they put out is always good. And yeah, there was a lot more positives last night than negatives. The main negative being the result, and that was caused by what I think was two pieces of poor defending. And the fact that we couldn't hit a barn door in front of goal. Pulisic, that I know young Lewis Hall should have scored, but he is a wing back at the end of the day, and he's on a big stage, lots of pressure. Keeper made a decent save, but Pulisic has got to be putting that one away that come across. And he put such a poor touch on it that it actually hit their defender and went out. Pulisic hit their defender who was running in at the side. You've got to be putting those away. You've got to. Last night, 15 shots on goal, 5 on target. Their keeper was man the match, so that says a lot. If someone had said to me yesterday, Chelsea are going to go away to Manchester City in current form, and the Manchester City goalkeeper is going to be man of the match, I would have laughed at him. But he was, and he needed to be. We could have won that. And when I look at some of the doom and the gloom and the Potter out and this player's not good enough, that player's not good enough on social media, I don't know what to make of it. It's not worth calling them what they are, you know. And I know everyone is entitled to their opinion, but when they're abusing and they're saying managers out after 9 weeks, I can't get myself into their heads, into their mindset. I just have to nod and go, like Ricky Gervais says, there's a reason that they put "don't drink" on the side of bleach, isn't there? Probably says it all. So last night the team was Mendy in goal. Right wing back was Ruben Loftus-Cheek. In the middle we had Chalobah, Koulibaly and Cucurella. And on the left we had young Lewis Hall, 18 years old. In the middle we had Cover and we had Zakaria. In front of them we had Ziyech and Pulisic. And up front we had Armando Broja. And to be honest, they all put in a shift. Some are way off form. Koulibaly, I watched him a lot when he was at Napoli. I'm convinced he'll come good, but last night on that second goal, poor defending. He's jumping in where he normally wouldn't. I don't understand what's wrong with him. I don't know if he's so keen to impress or whatever, but you'd think a man with his experience, what is he, 31, 32? You'd think a man with his experience wouldn't let the fact that he's at a new club in a new country get to him like a young lad like Kai Havertz would, you know, when he first came over. But there's something wrong with him, and he needed to track back on that second goal, and it would have been cleared. Our defenders have got to have the mentality of a striker. Get to that ball first. At the moment, we don't appear to have. The first goal, which was a free kick, needlessly given away by Trevor Chalobah, who I thought had a decent game again last night, but he's got to stop giving away these stupid free kicks around the area. I'm sure he will. Potter will be on it, and I'm sure Chalobah will realise that you can't do that, not against these top sides. But even then, the way it went in, Koulibaly again not jumping, you know, in the wall, not jumping. And Armando Broja, I took a point off him in the scores. I thought he had a decent game. It was nice to see someone with a bit of pace trouble him, someone with a bit of strength trouble him, and someone try and hold up the ball. But I took a point off him for jumping up and turning his head. Keep facing the ball. You might take one in the clock, but you could have stopped that goal. I was fuming. I was shouting at the television, and the pundits said the same thing. Said the same thing afterwards. So I'll go straight in. But even then, you know, with them two, we've got to score. 15 shots on goal at Manchester City, only 5 on target, and even then, we've just got to score. We've got to get. But even when Mason Mount come on, I saw Mason Mount getting stick the other day. I don't know what that lad's got to do. He's not in top form, but some of the touches he showed last night showed his quality. And I think as soon as he makes a bad pass, they're on him. I don't know if it's because he is from Cobham or what. You've even got some of these YouTubers, was it Yannick the other day, saying, is he overrated? I think they're all overrated. Practically every player in the top 6 are probably overrated. I don't see any George Bests there. Maybe with Haaland you've got Jimmy Greaves, but even I don't know. But they're probably all overrated. But I think he's one hell of a player, and I just don't understand the stick that he gets. Anyway, let's get straight onto the players' scores. Mendy. I'll give Mendy a 7. He started off very shaky with one of his... this ball on the ground, and he kicked it, hit a guy, and it went out, fortunately, for a goal kick. It could have easily gone the other way. He needs to sort himself out once and for all, or when Kepa's fit, he won't get back in the side, which is a shame, because a couple of the saves he made last night were superb, particularly one down to his left from, I think it was from Grealish. It went through a crowd of players and he got down, and I thought, crikey, for a big guy to get down like that, great save. Other than that first mistake, he wasn't too bad. Couple of dodgy kicks that went in the crowd, but good in the air, nice and safe from shots, gets a 7. Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets a 5.5. He's not a wing back. Didn't get any protection because Ziyech hasn't got a defensive bone in his body. 4 or 5 times CH did come back, it worked well, but he was exposed, couldn't get forward. When he did get forward, it wasn't the most deadly from the point of view of crossing. 5.5 last night. Caraboa gets a 6.5. I've took a point off him for that ridiculous challenge that ended up being a free kick. We got to stop giving free kicks away. Got to stop it. It's just ridiculous. It's like giving them a goal. Can you imagine if De Bruyne was on there? It's bad enough having Mahrez and about 3 or 4 others of them that can take free kicks. Koulibaly gets a 4. So far below his best. Put some good blocks in, funnily enough, and maybe 4's being unfair, but the goal and then not jumping for a free kick, inexcusable. Cucurella, he gets a 5. He won't be a centre half as long as he's got a hole in his bum. He was better last night. He was positive. I've seen some people saying he was man of the match. I just didn't see that at all. And I was shouting at the telly again when Lewis Hall was hauled off and Cucurella stayed on that pitch and moved to left back. I was literally shaking my head. I thought to myself, he must give some blowjob for Potter to keep him on that pitch and take Lewis Hall off. That's the only thing I can think that justifies it. It can't be for a footballing reason, surely. Lewis Hall last night was my Chelsea man of match and he gets an 8.5. If he'd scored a goal last night, he would have got a 9.5, maybe a 10. People seem shocked by the ability some of our youngsters have got. Watch the development side. Big leap from there to the Premiership. But he came on last year and did well. Now, why isn't he put in the side straight away? Because of the Cabbages. He's 18 years old, he's probably on social media, and he's only got to have one bad game. Billy Gilmore played his first 2 games, man of the match twice. Had not a bad game, but an indifferent game. He's not good enough for Chelsea. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Cabbages, they come for these young lads. They come for anyone. They come for Mason Mount. He's probably going to the World Cup, but they come for him. They come for anyone. They're Cabbages. And so that's why these young lads, that's why managers, I think, are scared to give these young lads a chance. Also, the fact that we've just paid £60 million for Cucurella, which I think is the definition of mental illness, and I suppose he's got to get the place to justify the money. But Lewis Hall last night was superb. He was brave on the ball. His defending was good. He wasn't scared to take a player on. But you know what? I see him look round once to check that the centre half was covering. And I thought, what a brain that young lad's got on him. Nice to see. And then he went round the player. Started an attack. Good to see. I mean, even Chile hasn't been playing like that this season. So maybe give the young lad a chance. But head and shoulders above Cucurella based on that one performance, which he is just a young lad. And if he does get a run, again, you've got to be patient. In the middle, we had Cover and Zakaria. Cover last night gets a 5.5. Worked really hard. Gave the ball away too much. On my notes, 8 times. He gave the ball away twice, leaving us exposed at the back. He's trying to do too much. He's looking round him probably thinking, Jesus Christ, I need to do something a bit special. A couple of times he did. It ended up with us creating a chance, but he tried doing too much. Not his best game, 5.5. Zakaria gets a 6. Did what he needed to do. I can't think of any major mistakes where he gave it away. He had one of them games, it was quiet, but quietly effective. I like the looks of him. When I'm the bloke that slagged him off as the next Bakayoko when we signed him, that was based on watching him play for Juventus against Inter Milan when he was coming back from injury. I think there's a player there. Certainly while Kante's injured. In front of them, we had Pulisic. Pulisic gets a 6. He was positive. he was trying to do, but his finishing and his decision making, like all their decision making lately, you know, Mount, Abbott, all of them, it's been, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with them. But last night, that one in front of goal, oh my God, you've got to connect with them if you're a forward, you know, or an attacking midfielder. Ziyech gets a 6.5, hot and cold. Did some things brilliantly, some things poorly. Didn't do his job covering Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which then means that when Ruben goes forward, Chalobah's got to be pulled out even further wide, and against Manchester City you can't afford to do that. Up front, Brozier gets a 6. I thought he worked really hard. I took a point off him, would have been a 7. I took a point off him for turning his head from that free kick because it cost us. And he's only a young lad, but up the park, you know, up the park as a 10-year-old, the first thing you're taught, don't turn your back. And most of that Wall did. Apart from Caraboa, of course, he was facing the ball, he just didn't jump. That's the other thing you're told when you're 10. Jump and don't turn your back. Brozier did alright, held the ball up well, I thought. Always a danger, didn't get an awful lot of service. I found the problem was he was coming deep to try and cut down space and try and get the ball. And by the time it went forward, he wasn't in the position that he should have been in to put that ball in the back of the net. People like Harry Kane, they've adapted that over the years. He reminds me of a young Kane, you know, he really does. If you go back and watch Harry Kane's first few games for Tottenham, he does really remind me. Let's hope he turns into a Kane. People are writing him off already. They're there. Oh, Brozier's this, Brozier's that. Guys had sort of 2 full games. I don't know what to say about some of our support base. Not all. Most of them are great. But some of them, oh my good God. If that's support, I hope they never support me. So, I thought it was a decent performance. We were brave. We couldn't finish. They were Manchester City. Pretty much sums it up. Right, I'm not going to go on and on. You tell me what you think. Do you think I'm wrong? Anything you noticed? Oh, I've not scored Potter. Oh, Potter last night gets a 7. Wrong result. But he gave some young lads a chance. He gave some people who aren't getting minutes a chance to prove him wrong, which I thought was the right thing to do after that debacle against Arsenal. His game management was okay. He brought the subs on, which didn't really improve us. If I'm honest, we looked more dangerous with the first 11. I mean, he would have got criticised if he hadn't made substitutions. But to be honest, I thought we looked pretty dangerous with the original 11 on. But there you go. Manager can't win, can they? It's all right. Hindsight's a great thing, and it's easy for me sitting on the sofa, drinking a glass of wine with no pressure. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel and throw the video a like. Speak to you after Newcastle. Oh, and people have been asking about the competition. Next week I will do the competition for the signed Reece James photograph and certificate of authenticity. Okay, thanks for watching. Up to Chelsea.